Kicking off a new week of CNN Student News, and we're glad to have you with us. From the CNN Center, I'm Carl Lazouz. First up today, we're talking about debates after some speculation that the first presidential face-off might be postponed. It didn't happen. Senators Barack Obama and John McCain did square off on the issues last Friday. The scheduled topic for the evening was foreign policy, but the candidates spent the first 30 minutes talking about, you guessed it, the economy. That is understandable given the current financial struggles facing the U.S. Susan Candiotti reports on some of the highlights from Friday's event in Oxford, Mississippi.
They walked out appearing relaxed and got down to business. As expected, both candidates were first asked about the hornet's nest on Capitol Hill over a financial bailout.
This is a final verdict on 8 years of failed economic policies promoted by George Bush, supported by Senator McCain.
We're not talking about failure of institutions on Wall Street. We're talking about failures on Main Street and people who will lose their jobs and their credits and their homes.
Time and again, they were pressed on what they'd have to give up because of the financial crisis.
How about a spending freeze on everything but defense, veteran affairs, and entitlement programs?
Another place where I'd like to look for some savings, we're currently spending $10 billion a month in Iraq when they have a $79 billion surplus.
The rest of the debate focused on foreign policy, with McCain trying to showcase his experience.
Senator Obama twice said in debates that he would sit down with Ahmadinejad, Chavez, and Raul Castro without precondition. Without precondition.
This is a major difference that I have with Senator McCain. This notion that by not talking to people we are punishing them has not worked. It has not worked in Iran. It has not worked in North Korea.
There was no single apparent defining moment for either candidate. Next up, the one and only vice presidential debate. Susan Candiotti, CNN at the University of Mississippi.
You know we will be covering that VP debate on our show, along with the remaining events between Senators McCain and Obama. Now, to learn about the history of presidential debates, how all this stuff got started, check out our one sheet on the subject or our Debates 101 video. And our learning activity helps you interpret these events. You can find all of it at cnnstudentnews.com. Back to the financial crisis now and a plan to fight it. On Sunday, Congress released a draft of the bailout bill. This thing is based on President Bush's $700 billion proposal, but it includes some conditions and restrictions. The $700 billion would be released in stages, starting with $250 billion immediately. A board of economic experts would be created to keep watch over this bailout process, and there would be restrictions on the compensation packages, the pay for corporate executives whose companies take part.
Time for the shout-out. Indonesia, South Korea, and the Philippines are all part of what continent? If you think you know it, shout it out. Is it Africa, Asia, Europe, or South America? You've got 3 seconds. Go! You can find all of these countries in Asia. That's your answer, and that's your shout-out.
And all of those nations are banning some Chinese food products right now because of a scandal involving tainted milk. China's leader is promising to improve his country's food safety after dairy products contaminated with this chemical called melamine have made more than 50,000 children sick. Son Jie looks at how countries across the Asian continent are responding to this scandal.
The scare over tainted milk in China continues to spread across Asia. The country's Food and Drug Administration banned the import of Chinese-made food products containing powdered milk after authorities said they found biscuit products tainted with melamine.
Until now, on September 24th, 124 products have been inspected, including chocolate, bread, and biscuits. As a result, melamine has been found in 2 products.
One is called misarang, meaning rice love. It is made in a Chinese factory sold in South Korea under the local brand name Hete. A company spokesman told CNN the product was not sold outside of South Korea. In supermarkets across Asia, from Jakarta to New Delhi, Chinese dairy products are disappearing.
Today, they have to pull out all these milk and milk products coming from China.
In Manila, health officials inspected a mall in the city's Chinatown and removed Chinese milk products, which are currently banned. Officials in Taiwan ordered 160 products containing Chinese milk and vegetable-based proteins off store shelves. In Indonesia, officials started recalling some of the most popular Chinese dairy products. Teams of government inspectors scoured supermarkets in and around Jakarta. Across Asia, consumers are wondering what's safe. Whether it is at giant supermarket chains or mom-and-pop shops like this one, the tainted milk scandal has caused Korean foods to get a much more closer scrutiny than ever before.
I'll be looking at the label to see where the ingredients came from. I think if this keeps up, I will stop eating anything made in China.
Worries here and beyond. Parents across Asia are also reportedly heading to hospitals to get their children checked out. Son Ji-ae, CNN, Seoul.
Is this legit? Yuri Gagarin was the first person to travel into space. This one's true. The Russian cosmonaut blasted off on April 12, 1961, orbiting the Earth in about 90 minutes and becoming the world's first spaceman.
Okay, now since then, only 2 other nations have sent crews into space. The United States, of course, and now China. The country's first launch came in 2003, and during a trip toward the stars this weekend, a Chinese astronaut took a stroll outside the shuttle, completing his country's very first spacewalk. Kyung La looks at what this milestone means for the country and its space program.
China's first astronaut to walk in space waved to his countrymen and then uttered these words. Greetings to all the people in China and the world. Back on Earth, they responded with pride.
I love China.
I'm proud to be Chinese, says this man, and many in the crowd, as they watch Zhai Zhugang wave the flag in man's final frontier.
It was just a month ago that crowds had gathered around this big screen to cheer on another major international event, the Olympics. This coming so close on the heels of that event, China's government hopes to send this message that its rising power is not just on Earth, but also in space.
A successful spacewalk is a major step forward for China's plans to build a space station by 2020. In the words of China's manned space program, this is a breakthrough. The ultimate purpose for exploring space is to pursue peace. China should definitely mark its footprint on this part of history. But with details of its space program still cloaked in secrecy and under the control of China's military, concerns linger that this will only expedite a space race. Though analysts who track China's military and technology call the race more of a crawl, and one that may spur more space exploration from the U.S.
I think that the U.S. generally responds better when there is competition than when there isn't. So insofar as the Chinese mission is a spur reminding American decision makers that there are other countries out there that are intent upon a manned presence, a long-term presence, yes, I think that's probably a good thing.
At the big screen, only big dreams being met in this moment, the days of milk scandals and the earthquake forgotten momentarily. This historic moment seems a natural step to visitors.
Like U.S., like Russia, they had to do it to prove that they are a big nation.
A big and growing nation, continuing to stretch the boundaries of its power. Kyung La, CNN, Beijing.
Before we go, there is an awesome new personal travel device available, but you have to jump out of an airplane to use it. It was no problem for this guy. He revved up rocket-powered wings on Friday and sailed through the sky across the English Channel, clearing the 22-mile waterway in less than 10 minutes. The adventuring aviator is the brains behind the operation, too. He invented the thing. He's hoping that one day this personal jet wing will be common enough so that everyone can have their own. Assuming you're not too chicken to use it. That is where today's show takes flight. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Carl Azus.